What is going on, guys? Back at it again at the ABNF podcast here with my buddy Nick. Nick, we've been having a great second round of the playoffs. There's a lot of storylines, a lot of things we need to talk about.
Yes.
And I'm going to be honest, man.
I'm shocked.
I don't know what else to say.
I mean, I'm honestly, like, my picks, I could potentially go 1-3.
I'm probably gonna go 2-2 myself. So you're. I'm not. It's not you think. It's just more of like the teams you expect have not lived up to where they should be at.
I agree. Yeah.
So I think one that we're gonna definitely talk about first, Nick, is gonna be that Boston and Philly series. And I mean, I really thought Boston was gonna go in last night and win. I did not expect them to.
Yeah, I even said on the last podcast, remember what I said? Yes. This was the series that is going to get, the one that's going to get hyped out a lot, and this is going to be the series that doesn't live up to the hype. I was wrong. I was flat out wrong. I mean, Philly's up 3-2 in this series, but my question to you and to all fans out there, you think it's more about the way that Philly's playing, the way they're dominating on both sides of the court, or is it just Boston just struggling, you think?
I think it's a combo of both. I think one, Boston, and all respect to Joe Mazzulla, I think he's been a great coach. Obviously, with the Ime Udoka situation that we talked about earlier this year, I think one of the things that he really screwed up on, because in my opinion, I think Boston should have been up 3-1. I think that timeout he didn't call, and then you double onto Embiid on the final possession when you're leaving James Harden wide open in the corner, and he hits that three. That's where it just seems like if this series ends up going 6 and Philly wins Game 6, we're going to go back to Game 4 and that last possession, and then not taking the timeout at the end to basically draw a play. Like I don't know. Is it just me, or does it feel like every coach is not calling their timeouts, like in like the why didn't you?
It's been happening a lot recently. Now I feel you, and I think with Boston, like the reasons why like they're struggling so much, like I said, obviously they're not executing a game plan on both sides of the floor. I think offensively they're playing too much isolation basketball. And that doesn't work when you play very good defensive teams. That's why I picked Golden State to beat them in the finals last year. In crunch time situations, when you're bottom of the league in crunch time points, and you're not able to execute, and when you play teams, when you ISO, the good defensive teams will be able to figure you out, no matter how much talent you have. And Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown, obviously,
that's true.
They're probably the best tandem in the NBA. That's a different discussion for another day, right?
Yeah.
But it's very interesting to me how Jaylen Brown starts off so well in first quarters, but then they stop giving him the ball as the game goes on. I don't know if you noticed that. Like, first quarter, he's like in double figures in scoring, and then second, third, and fourth quarter, his touches are not the same anymore. And I just think now the inexperience factors of Joe Mazzulla is coming out. Just like you said, he's been a great coach all year. He's come in due to the whole drama with what happened with Ime Udoka, has to come in, handle a lot of different personalities on his Boston team. But I think the inexperience factors coming in now. No adjustments, in my opinion, have been made. They're playing the same way offensively, too much isolation ball. And on the defensive side of the ball, they're just letting Joel Embiid cook. They're not really fronting the post. They're not really helping off on non-shooters whenever Philly has non-shooters on the basketball court. I mean, even look at what Marcus Smart brought up after Game 2. The randomness in the offense. That's a shot at Joe Mazzulla. Like last year, he took a shot at Tatum. Like Marcus Smart's not afraid to speak his mind. That comment is literally towards Joe Mazzulla to change the way that we play, or we're not going to win the series.
No, that's true. And I think another thing too is that Boston still, and this is something that we've talked about before, Nick. They don't have a point guard.
They don't.
Like they that's the one position they truly lack in. And look, like all respect to Marcus Smart, he's a great defender. He's been
Derek White's another one.
Derek White too. Like here's my question. Why is Derek White not getting enough touches? Wasn't he like one of the bigger factors in your round 1 series against Atlanta? Why are you not giving him the ball? My other thing too is I understand that you don't have anybody to stop Joel Embiid. I know he's dominating. He's got 28. He's averaging 28 in this series. And he's shooting pretty well from the field at 44%, you know. But my thing is, this is not the first time they're playing Joel Embiid and the Sixers. I mean, I don't get it, and he's not even 100% right now.
No.
But
it looks like that knee's not an issue right now.
Well, no, because he took off the brace.
I mean, and that's the thing with what I mean by the inexperience factors of Joe Mazzulla. If you had got a guy like Joel Embiid is cooking you and stuff, why are you not bringing that second defender? Like at the end of Game 5, now they started to front the post, trying to not let him get the ball so easily. Now you have Al Horford, playing off of PJ Tucker a lot more for that weak side help. Yeah. Where was that from start to finish in these games? Well, why are you deciding to do that now? And I think that's a reason why Marcus Smart's bringing this up. Like, you're not changing anything. You're not going game to game like all these other great coaches are. They're going game to game. Joe Mazzulla, he said, regular season, one of the best teams. We were number 2 in defensive rating. We could do the same exact thing at Coast to get to the finals. That's not. And think about this. I was really thinking about this, right? Obviously, the 2 best players for Boston are Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown. They are the only tandem left in the NBA. They don't play 2-man action together. Look at all these other teams. Harden and Embiid, they can run the pick and rolls.
Yep.
Murray and Jokic, that pick and roll game is unstoppable in that series against Phoenix right now.
Yeah, no answers.
Curry can play with Clay just because of their movements, and Draymond Green with pick and rolls. Even KD's setting screens for Devin Booker now because they realize every time they're in ISO situations, they're doubling. LeBron and AD can play together. Butler and Bam are perfect together.
Yeah.
It's just too much isolation basketball. They don't complement one another.
That is true. And my question to you, Nick, is if they end up losing this series,
here we go.
Is Jaylen Brown gone?
I don't think so because I don't think there would be. They will not trade Jaylen Brown unless they really think that whatever move that they make
is going to help them.
It's going to put them over the top. Like, for example, Kevin Durant's not available. He's in Phoenix. And he's locked up. That's not going to happen.
Shiva's not going to
and plus, they just have to figure out a way to get a true point guard, like you said. And they need to figure out a way to get rid of this isolation basketball. Right?
Yeah, I definitely agree.
Yeah.
And I would also say to the other extent too. I know we've been talking a lot about Boston. Just give credit to Philly too.
Credit.
I think James Harden has he can't do that every game, but he's had 2 40-point games in the series.
Absolutely. And I want to bring this up real quick. One thing that Boston has actually been doing well in this series, they've been doing a great job forcing James Harden to go right on pick and rolls and not left. Let me break this down. So you had 15 pick and roll actions last night. 7 times he went right. Guess how many points they scored? 0. They went pick and roll. He went to the opposite side 8 times. They averaged almost 2 points of possession.
You're not letting him go to his dominant hand. I mean, that's basic basketball 101.
Yeah.
Forced to the weak side. If you're forcing them to the weak side and they're not able to do everything, and that's been a problem with Harden his whole career. This isn't something new. But this isn't Houston Rockets James Harden either.
No, it's not. And the thing, the 3 games that they've won so far, they've had a co-star show up. For example, Embiid didn't play game 1. Harden goes for 45.
Yep.
And then game 4, Harden has another 40-point game after struggling games 2 and games 3. Game 5, which was last night, Maxey goes for 30. Tobias Harris 16 and 11. The X factor is House Jr. 15 minutes of play with 10 points and 5 rebounds. So they're getting contributions. Of course, Embiid's going to do his thing, especially with the lack of size in the front court for Boston. They can't guard Joel Embiid. But that doesn't mean that Joel Embiid has to get the ball every time and has to be that primary option every time. If you get the other guys going, they're playing terrific basketball on both sides of the ball right now.
Yeah, and I think something else too with Philly right now is this is probably the best, and I actually said this to a buddy yesterday, this is the best Philadelphia 76ers team that's been put together since they were able to acquire Jimmy and Tobias Harris at the trade deadline a couple of years ago. I think the additions of guys like D'Anthony Melton who can play the 3 and D.
Yes.
Obviously a guy like PJ Tucker, I know he's not doing anything on the offensive end, but he's
defensively he's doing a lot.
Yeah, and he's going to be somebody who's going to just basically, he's going to be out there. Obviously Tyrese Maxey is continuing to take more steps, He had over 30 yesterday, another guy that's been huge in their offensive game. You have a guy like Dwayne House who comes in, plays as a rotation player. Obviously, you have George Niang, and then you also have, guys like Paul Reed who have game one. I mean, Paul Reed looks, he looks pretty good. Yeah, they're a deep team.
Yeah.
I don't think that it goes unsaid that, like this Philly team. All right, Nick, I've been wanting to say this. If Philly somehow makes the finals and they lose, I would probably riot if I'm any like Philadelphia sports fan, because
it's rough.
That would be rough, but they need to win Game 6, because I'm telling you right now, I don't want to hear the excuse if they end up losing this series with Doc Rivers. Doc Rivers has done this too many times now where he has a lead in this series.
The most 3-1 series losses as a head coach in NBA history.
3. In 3 different decades. So
that's tough.
That's all I'm going to say, because I think that they are literally in the position to end this in Philly. Do not give Boston that hope and that chance to come back, because I do know that Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown, they're cooking, man. You're not beating them.
Yeah, I agree. And like I said, as long as they get away with this isolation stuff and they just play the game of basketball, they're going to be fine.
Yeah, and honestly, man, to go forward as well with another series where we see another Eastern Conference team that plays very ISO-heavy basketball is the New York Knicks.
Yeah.
And I think that, so right now, as we are recording today on Wednesday, Miami is up 3-1. They actually already started playing
right now.
So 7 o'clock, so they started at 6:30. I'm actually going to look up the score right now just so you get an idea right now of where we're at. And I apparently can't pull up the score right now. But anyways, Nick, to just kind of, so Miami's up 10 right now.
Okay.
So really Miami has just really dug in this series, and they've shown that they're the better team. I think that's and I'm just going to ask you real quickly, do you feel like they're the most underrated 8th seed we've seen?
I'll say this. I think that's a lot of people are asking that question probably just because they might be like the second 8th seed to get to the conference finals and things like that, right? But even before the series against Milwaukee, really think about this. They are probably one of the most talented 8th-seeded teams in NBA history. You got Jimmy Butler, you got Bam, you got all these shooters, you got championship presence with Kyle Lowry, you got one of the greatest coaches in NBA history as an 8th seed. Even if they lose to the Bucks, let's say they lose in the first round, they go 6 or 7. That is still, to me, one of the best 8th seeds I've ever seen.
No, I 100% agree. And, I just still think the crazy part is that they were...
Tyler Hero.
Yeah, that's one thing. They also lost Oladipo.
Yep.
In the same series. Tyler Hero could come back in the conference finals or the NBA finals if they make it that far.
Yeah.
We'll see. They obviously have to close out tonight, and then they would have to win the next series either against Boston or Philly, which
that's very interesting. Jimmy Butler playing Philly.
Oh yeah, because you know how he feels about teams he's played on, and getting his revenge on them. He already did it to the Bulls. He sent them out at the play-in. 90 seconds, man. 90 seconds was the difference between the Bulls being the 8th seed and the Miami Heat being the 8th seed, and look at where that has gotten them. So a couple of things I want to just point out, Nick, is that the scoring differential has actually only been about a 7-point differential in the series. So the Knicks, obviously, they're a gritty defensive team. Tom Thibodeau has always been a defensive-minded coach. He's going to rely on guys that he trusts, and Jalen Brunson is playing about 40 minutes a game. And I think he's been one of the lone bright spots in the series for them.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, hasn't he scored at least 20 or more points in every single playoff game so far?
Yeah, and his stats for this series is actually he's averaging around 27 points a game, 5 rebounds a game. He's got about 7 assists. While you have a guy like Julius Randle who is, I mean, his numbers. If you just looked at his stats, you'd say he's having a good series. But there's just a couple mental things that he is just not.
Do you want me to be honest with you?
Go ahead.
The Knicks will never win a championship with Julius Randle as their second best, because in my opinion, Jalen Brunson's the best player on this team.
No, I 100% agree.
Even though Julius Randle got the nod for all NBA team and stuff, I mean, he's a great regular season player, but postseason, there is games this man just flat out doesn't show up.
Oh, that's true.
In recent history, just doesn't show up. There's games he'll play really, really well.
Yeah.
And then there's just has not been this consistency of Julius Randle in the postseason.
I don't disagree with you.
He's one of the most durable players too. He played the first 70-some games of the year before he got hurt and he missed part of the first round and stuff like that too. So
yeah, and another thing too, man, is like the comment that he made. I think was it last game too, right?
Tom Thibodeau's gotta be livid.
Yeah, because you can't say like
you cannot say
they want it more than us. That's not the right direction to go, especially
even if you think that, you cannot say that.
No,
especially
agree.
the way that the New York media is. Out of all medias, they're gonna kill you.
Oh yeah, everybody and their mother heard that.
Yeah,
and I mean, I can't say really much because I just there's not much to really say. I just think the Knicks just look defeated.
Yeah. I just think too. It's crazy to say, it's an 8 seed doing this to a 4 seed, but the Heat have the better talented overall team in my opinion going into this series. They play with more toughness, more grit. They want those 50-50 balls. You have a star-level player in Jimmy Butler. He's one of the best leaders in the NBA. Goes all out, both sides of the floor. Jalen Brunson's a good player and stuff.
Yeah.
Not on that level with Jimmy Butler. And I got a question for you.
All right, let's hear it.
If they lose this game tonight, should the Knicks trade Julius Randle and put other pieces around Jalen Brunson?
Yeah, I'm not even gonna pause. Yes, I would.
I agree.
I would trade him.
I'd trade him too.
Yeah. I mean, it's plain and simple, man. Like you've already made the point of he can't be the second best player on your team, and I mean,
great player though, just can't be.
He's a great talent. I mean, like I'm not gonna compare it to like when teams have traded away like star players to help get more rotational pieces, but I mean we're seeing it in the Western Conference right now, and I also would just want to say too is that the Knicks, if they're going to trade Randle, they need to get some 3-point shooting, man, because their 3-point shooting has been horrendous, 28%.
Yeah, it's bad, and that's what we were talking about our last podcast. I said the Knicks play too much isolation ball.
Yeah,
they're one of the their assist levels. They were only 23 assists per game in the regular season, one of the bottom in the NBA, and they were not a good 3-point shooting team. Like they have guys like it's so weird with the Knicks. They have guys that are capable of knocking down threes. Jalen Brunson's capable of hitting threes. Julius Randle can hit a few threes. RJ Barrett's capable of hitting threes. Manuel Quickley's capable of hitting threes. Obi Toppin's capable of hitting threes.
Yeah.
You have no snipers and you have no consistent 3-point shot. I mean, Jalen Brunson, he shoots close to 40%, but he's not that like high volume 3-point shooter. He likes to get to the rim. He posts up a lot for a point guard. Likes to get in that,
He likes to get in that area. He likes to get on the block or like that 15-footer where he can just take it right there.
Yeah.
Because I mean, you saw that a lot when he played on the Mavs too. I mean, Randle from this series is shooting 22% from 3. That's not going to cut it. You know what's funny? Emmanuel Quickley was supposed to be a 6th Man of the Year candidate. He has not been a factor in this series whatsoever.
Not at all. Kind of like Jordan Poole with the Warriors, so that's a different.
Hey, that's a topic we'll talk about later.
Yeah.
But Jimmy Butler is him, man. That's one thing I will say. He's been great this series. 20, almost 27 a game.
Yeah.
48% from the field. Now, one thing, Nick, I did want to point out, because I know we talked about this on the last podcast. Jimmy really last round, he did not get a lot of contributions from his other pieces besides Bam. And Bam has been good in this series as well, almost 18 a game. And
Max Strus is really coming, man. I like that.
Yes.
That's another person like Austin Reeves is going to get paid.
Yeah.
I don't know what Max Strus' contract situation is, but when he's a free agent, this guy's going to get a lot of money somewhere.
Dude,
I don't know where, but he's going to get it somewhere.
He's good. He's averaging 15 in this series. He's shooting 37 from 3.
He plays great defense too.
That's why he replaced Duncan Robinson. We talked about that too. Strus is a bigger body. He's able to do a little bit more on the offensive end than like Duncan Robinson. And I mean, Robinson in this series, he's shooting like 6 threes a game, and he's only shooting 20%. So this is kind of what shows you of like why Strus has become more of a focal point for the Heat. Kyle Lowry has kind of resurged this playoffs. I know last year there was probably a lot of stuff going on. We don't know what was going on with Kyle Lowry, but you can tell this year he's been playing a lot better. Also, real quick, maybe because you don't see this in the stats, but if you're watching the games, have you been noticing how many Kevin Love passes we are seeing where it's like across court?
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy what he could do. I mean, like, they were undefeated. I don't know if they're still undefeated now, but I know when they started playing Kevin Love in the starting lineup, they were, like, undefeated. They were, like, 4-0 last time I saw. I don't know what that record is now, but, you know, Spoelstra, they got a deep team, man.
They do.
And, you know, the other guy, though, Vincent, I like Vincent, too.
Vincent has been really good.
He can knock down perimeter shots. He can create for his own shot. I mean, I like him too. It's crazy how, like, half of this Heat rotation currently, a lot of them are undrafted.
They have 4 players right now that they are playing undrafted.
Yeah.
And I think that's insane to think about it. Like, Caleb Martin last series and 1 or 2 games in this series, I mean, he's playing like he's like Ray Allen. And, like, I know his like stats don't say, like, he's shooting amazing from 3, but I swear when I've been watching, it's like every time he shoots a 3, it goes in.
Yeah.
And he's not known for that. Yeah. So, I mean, I'll ask this to you, Nick. Yeah. Because I think we both can agree that the Miami's going to win this series.
Yes.
Who would you rather be facing in the Eastern Conference Finals if you're Miami to make a chance to go to another NBA Finals?
Wow, that is a good question. I think they personally match up better against Philly than Boston. Okay. I just think I just think they got more guards that could guard those guards for Philly.
I can see that.
Butler could guard Harden or Maxey, whatever you want. I mean, Harden's not as quick anymore either. And then, like, I just think Miami with Bam, he could switch out. You know, the way that Philly plays, I think Miami matches up really well with that style. Boston wants to play kind of fast-paced. Miami likes to slow the game down a little bit more. Yeah. I just think Doc Rivers is known for his coach career. He never really, I mean, besides, like, maybe, like, the Clippers when they had Blake Griffin and all those guys, but he's known to, like, slow the game. Well, he wants to slow the game down a lot.
No, I agree. And, I mean, like, Philly's more of a veteran team, you know, outside of, like, a guy like Maxey. You know, a lot of your guys on your team are, like, NBA vets. Yeah. So, I agree with you. I think the only matchup issue we obviously are going to see, because most guys can't guard Joel Embiid, so you're going to have that mismatch. But, I mean, if you can take out guys like Tyrese Maxey or James Harden out of their rhythm and force somebody else to beat you, you know, because you know that Embiid's going to give you his... They beat him last year. And I guess we can't keep saying that because every team we've been seeing that, you know, beat somebody last year, they're not having the same luck this year. Yeah. And, I mean, that's where I will say, like, I could still see Philly beating Miami in the best of 7.
Absolutely.
But I would agree with you. I think Boston, they have too many guards and they have too many wing players where I think right now with Miami missing a guy like Tyler Hero and Victor Oladipo. Yeah. Now here's another thing too. The Philly and Boston are both really good shooting the 3. That's not Miami's strong suit. Yeah. That could be the undoing of them. You know, I think...
And I just think, too, Boston can throw a lot of guys at Jimmy Butler. Yeah. Versus Philly, not as much. That's why if I was Miami, personally, I'd rather play Philly.
I don't disagree with you on that. I mean, like, I'd love to see a rematch of Boston and Miami, but I think that Boston would win that series again.
Could you imagine, instead of deciding to give Tobias all that money and keeping Ben Simmons because you wanted the Ben Simmons to run the show, put Jimmy Butler on the Sixers team right now with Joel Embiid, Tyrese Maxey. They win the championship this year.
I guarantee.
They win it all. They win multiple times. You know, with Embiid, as long as he stays healthy, they win multiple times.
You know, the funny thing is that they probably would have won that year. Or not win the. I don't think they would have won the. Well, actually, They probably.
They would have won the finals.
They would have won the finals because Kevin Durant was out. I actually think if they beat Toronto in that series, that bounce doesn't happen. Jimmy was playing really well. Embiid was playing. He was playing decent, but I think that they would have. That would have been a great team matchup.
Great shooters on that team.
Yeah. So Nick, I think tonight, end of the series, ISO heavy team, lack of 3-point shooting. Miami has been playing well, the better coach, better overall team. Yeah. If they don't win today, they're gonna win in Miami in 6. That was my original pick, but I think it could go to 5.
Yep, I agree.
So
I think the Knicks have given up, to be honest with you. It just looks like it.
Yeah, I mean that's and I will tell you this right now, Nick, just to give you an update before we go on to our next one.
Yeah.
The Knicks are up 2 with 9:25 in the second quarter,
Okay.
26-28.
Yeah.
We'll see how this game goes, but
Yep.
I don't disagree with you. The Knicks just don't look like a team that wants to be there.
Yeah. I mean, with their lack of ball movement offensively, I think they just feel like defeated.
And I mean that's the thing too is I think with and I love Tibbs. I think that one of the things with him is that he's never going to be an offensive minded coach.
Mm-hmm.
And you know if his guys that are playing like they're not playing well,
Yeah.
it's gonna be a wrap. Like
Yeah.
you'll get your stops, but if you're gonna just depend off of Jalen Brunson to like bail you out every time,
Yeah.
you're not gonna win games.
Yeah.
And I guess this is gonna go to our next team. With Phoenix and Denver. And I think one thing before I let you go in, Nick, is that, you know, D-Book and Kevin Durant as a duo is dangerous.
It's insane.
I mean, that's all I have to say about that.
You know, they weren't really efficient last night's game, which we'll get into a little bit more.
Of course.
But, you know, the fact that, you know, they won 2 games against Denver, but just basically because of 2 players, I mean, that just speaks for itself.
It speaks volumes.
But going into, you know, the Nuggets and Suns series, obviously Denver's up 3-2. They got a big win at home. Now Game 6 going back to Phoenix. I want to congratulate Nikola Jokic for setting the record for most triple-doubles by a center in NBA history now. He's at 10.
Yes, sir.
It's absurd. Jokic's dominance in the series. You guys averaging 35, 14 rebounds, 10 assists, 51% from the field, 47% from 3 in this series.
He is unreal.
Jokic is killing DeAndre Ayton like how Giannis killed Ayton back in the finals.
Man.
Literally what it is.
Man,
it is what it is. It's just the facts. I hate to do that to DeAndre Ayton, but it's so true.
I understand.
But I just feel like the Suns, their game plan is just wrong. I mean, obviously you have 2 of the best isolation basketball players, not only in today's game, but could go down as we've ever seen.
No, 100%.
You know, with Devin Booker, KD, you know, they're relying on them making too many difficult shots and praying that when the double comes, their role players hit threes. Right? That's what they're relying on too much. I'm gonna throw this at you. In Game 4, on Devin Booker double teams, the Suns shot 10 of 12 from the field. In Game 5, they shot just 2 of 9. So if you're going to rely on these role players to be able to hit these perimeter shots, because you know the double's coming now. No matter whoever, KD's got the ball or Devin Booker's got the ball, they know they don't. DeAndre Ayton's not really a factor offensively anymore. He just really isn't. So they just rely. Okay, we're going to rely on Cameron Payne. We'll take our chances with Cameron Payne.
Hey, look,
Shepard, Okiki, all these guys. They're going to leave wide open for threes and stuff like that, right? I want to question DeAndre Ayton real quick. Think about this. This is his plus minus the entire series. Are you ready to go?
Let's hear it.
Game 1 minus 21. Game 2 minus 13. Game 3 minus 4. Game 4 even. Game last night minus 21.
Yeah, that's not.
I just think this is the thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
You watched the game last night. Nikola Jokic is the slowest superstar I've ever seen.
Yeah.
How does he beat DeAndre Ayton down the floor a couple times for layups and It's inexcusable.
I don't disagree with
you. It happened a couple times yesterday. Are you kidding me? Even there was one that was a made basket. Jokic beats you down the floor to get a layup right back at you.
I mean, that's the thing though, is that like DeAndre Ayton I can't even explain with him. He has moments where he looks really good, and then you see this. And then you really question, where is his mind at?
Yeah, that's the thing. I think the biggest problem with him, he doesn't have one game in this series, by the way, but 10 rebounds. You're 7-1. How do you not get 10 rebounds? Especially, you're the one that they're relying on because you're lacking size when you're playing against Denver.
Nick, he's averaging 1 free throw a game.
One free throw a game.
You literally should be down low. I mean, Jokic is not a great defender.
He's not.
You literally should be averaging 18 and 10.
Yes, I think the biggest problem with Ayton is, and number 2 too, like, he hasn't shown any emotion on the basketball court. When Jokic is cooking, you go,
I just
can't do anything about it. And then apparently this wasn't on TV yesterday, but according to a lot of people that were at the arena on a commercial break during a timeout, Kevin Durant and Devin Booker are trying to pump DeAndre Ayton up. He gets up and leaves the huddle to go sit at the end of the bench.
I mean, that's not the first thing I've heard about. I also heard that he didn't dap up CP3, just kind of left him hanging. I mean...
And that's the thing, too. I think DeAndre Ayton, after this year, he's gone. Kevin Durant's not going to put up with it. These big personalities now. Chris Paul's not going to want to put up with it. Monty Williams gave it another year after what happened last year during the locker room at half when they're getting blown out in Game 7 by Dallas, getting blown out by 30. Devin Booker is very spoken out. He's not going to want to put up with it either.
No, I agree.
You know what I'm saying? I just, and the thing with DeAndre Ayton is he takes it personal when he's not getting his touches offensively. And what happens is he doesn't bring energy on the defense end of the floor because he's so... The only way he feels like he can get going is if he gets going offensively. No, be a dominant presence defensively. I mean, look at the Warriors when they won all those championships. The Celtics didn't give a crap if they were getting the ball. They did whatever it took on the defense end of the floor to,
Kevon Looney has not been an offensive-minded
guy's a monster.
He literally can get you 22 rebounds.
Mitchell Robinson, New York, barely scores. Monster.
No, I agree. I agree.
Why can't you do that? Especially you have to understand, you got two guys in Kevin Durant, Devin Booker. I'm sorry, it is what it is. They're going to take 60% of the shots you just don't shoot, especially without a Chris Paul now. Your bench is weak. I'm sorry. He just has to face reality, I feel like.
We talked about this too, like with the Suns and their lack of depth. Aiden is not, and I mean, dude, they wanted to let him go. Let's be honest.
They tried.
Let's not pretend like the Suns really wanted to keep DeAndre. The only
they
reason
should have let him walk to Indiana.
That's literally because you know what? You could have a guy like Miles Turner. I would rather have a guy like Miles Turner right now than DeAndre Ayton.
They should have done a sign and trade and brought Miles Turner to Phoenix.
Dude, do you know how much better they would be? And imagine they have Kevin Durant and Devin Booker. I mean, dude, he's a shot blocker. He can shoot the three. He's not going to be the guy that's like, oh, I need 20 touches in the game for me to like be a difference maker. Mm-hmm. Bro, I think the craziest thing is Devin Booker is shooting 60% from the floor in this series. And that is...
he shot 80%. It's insane.
The thing with Phoenix is that if this team can just get a couple pieces, they'll be really dangerous. And I noticed something too that Monty Williams did, because I know you're talking about some of the guys that were coming off the bench. So what they did was that they kind of reduced the minutes of Okogie and Torrey Craig. Now they started playing a little bit more of Landry Shamet and Terrence Ross and T.J. Warren because
they can make shots.
Yeah, and the thing is like Terrence Ross, was an underrated like pickup from waivers because he got cut by the Magic.
Yeah.
He can make shots and he can shoot the three decently well. Kevin Durant has not been shooting amazing from three in the series too, and I mean
hasn't been as efficient as usual. But you got to credit Denver's defense.
Well, yeah, I mean, you got so many guys that can guard on that team. I mean, literally, if I just listed off some of the guys they have, Michael Porter Jr., Bruce Brown, KCP, Jeff Green, even Christian Braun, their young guy, is playing really well.
Yeah.
And even Aaron Gordon, man. Like, Aaron Gordon is going to be, like, somebody, and he's an underrated defender.
Oh, yeah.
So, I just think that there's too many bodies that obviously Denver has. And I was watching the game yesterday, Nick, and I literally just saw Jokic, like, it looked like a catapult just throwing up those shots. And every time, it would look like it was going to go too high, and it just goes right into the basket. He had 17 in the third quarter. He put the Phoenix Suns away by himself, and then Michael Porter Jr. was feeling it from three yesterday. He was cooking.
They got him involved early.
Yeah. He had
got
like
some wide open
points.
shots. Yeah, and the thing is, in that third quarter, when Jokic was cooking, not only that Phoenix doesn't have an answer for Nikola Jokic, they just don't, right? And we knew going into that series, they were never going to have an answer for him. I mean, he's just that gifted of a player. Mm-hmm. They don't know what to do in that pick and roll with Murray and Jokic.
No.
They can't stop it whatsoever at all. And that's what I mean with Tatum and Brown. That's...
No, I get you, man.
Yeah.
It's dangerous, too, because the thing is that Jokic is such a gifted offensive player that it's like, no matter what you do, he's gonna get his. And I mean, if you look at his stat line for the whole playoffs too, it's a walking triple double. And this probably is his best playoffs. And I mean, he didn't win the MVP this year, but look at how well he's playing there's no expectation with the MVP this year. I'm not saying that if he had gotten the MVP, this wouldn't happen because I think this is the best Denver team we've seen. We've talked about this since the beginning of this podcast. Yeah. Denver was going to be that team that was going to be dangerous. I mean, they're the favorites out of the West for me. I don't see the Lakers or Warriors beating that team in a 7-game series.
I agree. Which I was wrong. I picked the Suns, but let me ask you this question.
All right.
Let's say Jokic wins another MVP or two in his career. Yeah. And he won 2 titles in Denver.
Okay.
Where would he rank all time in bigs? Where would you put him?
It's so hard, man.
Jokic, to me, he's the best passing big man I've ever seen.
I agree.
I mean, it is absurd.
Shaq literally said that yesterday.
It is absurd what he's able to do. It's insane.
I think he's already a top 10 big man of all time.
Absolutely is.
It's so hard because you look at guys like Kareem, Hakeem,
Russell,
Bill Russell, Tim Duncan, Shaq. I mean, those 5 right away. Even Dirk. I would say he'd be above Dirk. I feel like if he won 2 titles and won a couple MVPs, because the one thing that Dirk did not do was he couldn't win at the highest level consistently. Like, he had great teams, they'd lose in the playoffs early, and that's what it felt like with Jokic for the last 2 years. Just not enough, but also the injuries. So we're seeing a fully healthy team. So if Jokic can get them to the finals, it's a different story now.
Yeah.
All right, Nick, I gotta just ask one thing before we move on to the next series. How would you feel if it was a Jokic Embiid finals?
That'd be very interesting because obviously that's a huge topic and always has been a huge topic the last couple of years. Who would you rather have, Joel Embiid or Jokic?
It could happen.
I think both of us agree. I personally would rather have Nikola Jokic. Mm-hmm. Congrats to Joel Embiid. He deserved the MVP this year. I probably thought maybe the first 60 games, I think it was Jokic, but then
it was
Joel Embiid really down the stretch just turned it on and you couldn't.
And Denver was struggling too.
Denver was struggling, and obviously Philly had. I think they've had the best record they've had in a long time, especially with the Embiid era. That's the best record they've had. You had to give it to him. Leading the league in points. Oh yeah, I get it. Joel Embiid's a killer man.
No, he's great.
But it's neck and neck. That'd be very interesting. And both those teams match up well with each other, but I would give Denver the edge if that ends up happening.
I would probably go.
But would love to see it.
Hey, I'd love to see it too, man, because I think it would finally put to rest the whole talk of who's the better center. Because whoever wins that series and whoever has the better performance, you can't then argue and say it's the other guy. That would kind of shut up a lot of people from that conversation of saying the other guy.
Yeah.
And I'm just gonna say this real quick, because you were talking about Aiden. I literally forget the one guy that's on Phoenix, but Jock Landale.
I like him better than DeAndre.
Yeah, he's been playing better.
He plays hard. He's much better defensively.
Yeah.
I mean, you can tell he's trying out there. He knows his role.
Yeah. And I mean, I don't know what to say about that because I'm telling you, but that most people do not know who that is.
You know what I would have loved? If they would have taken Luka, but Luka and Devin Booker. Now, I don't know if that trade by Kevin Durant will ever happen.
Probably not.
Probably wouldn't happen.
That'd be dangerous.
But you keep a Cal Bridges, Cam Johnson with Luka. Oh, my Lord. Oh, man.
So we never would have seen the infamous picture of Luka, smiling in the D-book. I mean, that would be crazy. But, I mean, that goes without saying, though, when you think about all these redrafts and stuff,
it's crazy.
I mean, you look at some of them, and you're like, why would you have taken this guy 1 or 2? Because Devin Booker wasn't even a top 5 pick.
No, I think he was in the back end of the lottery.
He was a 13th or 14th pick in his draft. And
Kobe was 13 or 14. I don't remember what pick, but
I believe it was 13th to the Hornets, and they traded him. They traded him for Vlade.
Donovan Mitchell was at the back end of the lottery. There's so many examples.
Oh, yeah. Giannis.
Taco Bell commercial, second round. Giannis. At 15th last pick in the lottery.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of guys that when you look at the redrafts, I mean, I think one of the funniest ones too is actually the Andrew Wiggins draft because Andrew Wiggins was the first overall pick. And I'm not saying that he hasn't had a great career, but Jokic is the best player from that draft. Or if you want to say Embiid, you could say Embiid. I think it's neck and neck with them. I think they're the 1-2 if you do a redraft. I think Andrew Wiggins is still the top 5 pick in that draft.
Absolutely.
But you can't forget about all the other guys. Levine was in that draft, for example.
Yep.
And I think Levine is a top 25, 30 player in the NBA.
Yeah.
So I mean, like, there's a lot of guys in that draft. And I will say one more thing, Nick. The Warriors definitely, I think, have probably made some of the best draft decisions. Because we're talking about that. Steph Curry got
seventh
missed. Pick? Yeah, he was a 7th pick.
Clay was in the back end of the lottery in the first round.
Draymond,
second round pick.
And they are the core.
They made great offseason moves too.
Yeah.
Andre Iguodala was the perfect fit for that team. When they got him in free agency, they got Jordan Poole. What was it? Second round too. They got Jordan Poole.
I think he might have been a late round, first round pick because
or late round,
I think he was like the end of the first round, if I'm not mistaken, because they took him the year they lost to the Raptors in the finals.
Yeah.
So they had one of the last picks of the first round.
Yeah.
But either way, I mean, Bob Myers has done a great job, and
they have a lot of questions. If they lose this series, looks like they will.
Yeah.
What are they gonna do with Draymond Green? What are they gonna do with like Clay and all these other guys? Like, it's gonna be very interesting to see what they decide to do.
All right, this is just one thing that I think could happen. Now, I don't think it will, but what could happen, man, and I mean, have you kind of noticed in Draymond's podcast, because he's buddy with LeBron, he's not talking all that trash like he did with everybody else. I could see him actually teaming up with LeBron because of just like his friendship with him.
Yeah.
And like,
you think he would take a pay cut though, because he's demanding more money from
Golden
State? I don't think the Lakers even have that money.
They won't. That's the thing.
Yeah.
I'm saying, like, I could see that happening.
Yeah.
I just think he would only do that is if the Warriors don't, like, if they don't want to re-sign him, and then the market's just not there for him. Then I could see that. I don't think it'll happen, but I could see it just because of the relationship.
Yeah.
That's where, because I just feel like that's just been something that I've been thinking about myself. But no, I agree. The Warriors have a lot of questions. Bob Myers is actually up for contract, even himself. And Klay Thompson is eligible for an extension.
How long is Steve Kerr going to want to coach?
That's another good question. He's won 3 championships with the Warriors. He's been to the finals 5 times with them. And, I mean, he won 5 chips as a player. I mean, this guy, he loves basketball, obviously. You can tell that he still enjoys doing this. But I think that I don't know if he's going to really want to be there for a rebuild once Curry gets to that age where, you just can't compete. Because right now, Curry's 35. And I think that he's going to continue to shoot the 3 well for the next couple of years. I just think that, unfortunately, your legs are the first things that are going to start going. Your shot's going to still be there.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens. But, some of the young guys haven't been to the level of where they wanted them to be.
Wiseman was a disappointment. That's another thing, too. Imagine they took LaMelo, and they just looked at the best available players instead of picking a position that
they should have taken
at the point.
They should have taken LaMelo. Honestly, it would actually probably help Steph Curry a lot, because you then could have...
That fast break would be insane.
Oh, yeah, because LaMelo could bring up the ball. Steph could literally be like an off-ball shooter, literally coming around the screen. Because you already know with the high pick and roll...
top 5 greatest shooters of all, oh my lord.
That would be nasty. Right? Nasty. So, to break down this Lakers and Warriors series, Lakers play tonight against the Warriors in San Francisco, up 3-1. I think outside of Game 2 and Game 3, which were both blowouts. Now, something when I was looking all this up is the funny thing is both Golden State and the Lakers scored 127 in those blowouts. Both of them scored
That's interesting.
that. And I didn't even realize that. And the other 2 games have been close. Lakers won both. Game 1 by 5, Game 4 by 3. And, even though they've been up this series, it's been a lot closer than it's been indicated, I think. And Golden State actually has had some slight edges in areas that you would expect, the Lakers to be, dominating them in, which would be, rebounding.
Yeah.
Just because they're a bigger team.
Yeah.
So, Nick, I got to ask you, what has been your biggest surprise in this series, and what has been your biggest disappointment?
Biggest surprise to me for the Warriors, Clay's been so inconsistent. Jordan Poole, where are you, my man? Where are you? What happened to last year's playoffs?
Yeah, and he got paid a lot of money, man. He's a $120 million player.
Yeah, and he has not been existent whatsoever in this year. I mean, credit to the Lakers' defense. I mean, obviously, after the trade deadline, Lakers were known they had the best defensive rating in the NBA. They are a great defensive team. I get that, but I just thought the Warriors would have found some ways to exploit some of the,
Yeah, no, I get it. I mean,
they've done a terrific job, and I think with the Lakers too, Darvin Ham has surprised me a lot. He's really matured as a head coach. He's not putting just Vanderbilt on Curry. Austin Reeves is guarding Curry now. He's changing it up so many ways.
Yeah.
For Curry to see so many different defenders. Now you're gonna have him thinking it's not gonna be the same way that they're gonna be playing defense on me all the time now.
Yeah.
I love what Darvin Ham's doing. Lonnie Walker, kudos to Darvin Ham for changing that rotation. He has been great.
Oh, Lonnie Walker is
great.
I think he defines what you should be as an NBA player.
What a true veteran is.
Yes,
I mean, I know he hasn't been in the league that long, but
that was humble.
A guy that's been out of the rotation, and then in the big pivotal moments of the playoffs, you put him back in the rotation, and it's been, for his role, the way he's been playing, the minutes that he's been getting, it's been fantastic.
And that's something that I wanted to point out too. Obviously the 15 points of the fourth to win Game 4. I mean, I understand why Darvin Ham brought him in. And here's the funny thing. For people who haven't been following the series as closely, Lonnie Walker got put into the game in Game 2 when they were getting blown out.
Yep.
And, Lonnie still plays with a lot of, tenacity.
Always, any basketball player in general now, man, whenever opportunity you get,
you have to
take advantage of it.
Yes.
Show it in practice all the time, because that finally gives that coach, this kid's working his butt off.
Yeah.
In practices, he's hanging in there. We're going to throw him in there. I don't care if your team's down 30 or you're up 30 with 3 minutes to go. Give the coaches more reasons why you should be on the floor getting some minutes.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
And Lonnie Walker, too, brings speed, athleticism, and jump. That man can jump. I saw him grab a rebound in Game 4, and I was like, he got up higher than anybody else. So I think with him, obviously he's been a factor in Game 3 and Game 4 for them. Mm-hmm. Another thing, too, like you were talking about with Darvin Ham, I think one of the biggest things that he did was Game 3 where he started having Jerry Vanderbilt guard Draymond to start the possession. So during that pick and roll where Draymond liked to do the short roll with Steph, he basically would switch on to Steph, and then that would cause the problem because now with that switch, now Curry doesn't have as much ability to get to where he wants to go because you have a guy who's 6'8", 6'9", long arms, and he's been a deterrent to Curry in this series. And then even Game 4, even with the Warriors' smaller lineup, having AD guarding Wiggins, that was an interesting move on Ham's part. And then, obviously, like you said, with Lonnie Walker playing him, sitting guys like Malik Beasley and Troy Brown who have been getting minutes and who have been those perimeter 3-and-D players.
Troy Brown was in the rotation for most of the year.
Yeah.
In the regular season. When Beasley came in, he was starting, and then he'd be one of the main guys off the bench. He was flip-flopping a lot of lineups and stuff. Darvin Ham deserves a lot of credit. They completely changed this team at the deadline, and they somehow, with the short span of games, they were able to figure this out. He was able to figure out the right rotations. He was able to figure out, what he wants his team to do in each game. I love what Darvin Ham is doing, man. He's obviously, anytime you're a head coach of a big market, historic market like the Lakers,
you're gonna get
and
talked
if you're not
about
doing
a lot.
your job, they're gonna talk about you.
Oh yeah, 100%. And I think one of the crazier parts about this is, do you know LeBron is actually leading the Lakers in scoring, even though it just hasn't seemed like he's been like that. But he's actually led the Lakers in scoring 2 of the games. He's at 23 points a game in this series. It's not.
It's just because AD's been inconsistent.
That's the other thing too. And AD, when he's been on, and I know we talked about the flip flop games with him, and it didn't happen last game.
Yeah.
And AD has he's been a monster at the rim.
Yeah.
He's forcing the Warriors to sometimes second guess themselves when they're going up for layups.
Yeah.
Blocking shots. He's averaging almost 3 blocks a game in this series. And I actually think one thing we're not talking about is that basically the Lakers have forced the Warriors to basically not play Kevin Looney anymore. I don't know if you've noticed that.
No, I have.
But
that's a very, very good point.
He was one of the biggest reasons why they won that first round series against the Kings, and now he's limited about 17 minutes a game in the series. Besides Game 1 when he played a lot, I haven't really seen him that much.
I have to bring this up. Maybe you might have been wanting to bring this up.
Yeah.
I think like we talk about all the time, one of the biggest reasons why we wanted to do this podcast is to give other players that hardly get talked about, recognition, other teams, even other coaches, vice versa, right?
Yeah.
Give everyone the props, whatever it's due, right? Did you see what they was talking? I don't watch Get Up, First Take. I don't really watch any of that stuff. But did you see what Mike Greenberg proposed for the Lakers for Game 5?
I thought that was disrespectful, man.
He said, you sit AD and LeBron.
Don't do that.
Why would you give the Warriors any kind of momentum? If you got the time to punish them, look, there's so many 3-1 series you could look at.
Yeah.
They blow. Even JJ Redick was like, I was on a Clippers team that blew a 3-1 to Houston.
To Houston, yeah.
What? You saw it twice with Golden State's down 3-1 to Oklahoma. Golden State comes back, win that series. Finals, they are off 3-1. Look what happens.
Yeah.
Why would you get the defending NBA champions
You don't want
a game? You pretty much just said they shouldn't fly out to San Francisco. They'll be healthy for Game 6.
Yeah.
It blows my mind. I'm sorry.
No. Thank you for bringing that up. I honestly forgot about that a little bit.
It blows me. Oh,
so
man.
here's my thing, and I agree everything you literally just said right there. This is why I don't like listening to big media anymore, because I think one of the biggest issues with them is that it's such tunnel vision. Why are you saying... So the only reason he said that too is because of all the minutes that AD and LeBron have been playing, and because of, I know, the injury risks and everything else. But man, that's the dumbest thing you could do.
The dumbest thing I've ever heard in a long time.
Yeah, I mean, like the only way I would say, like, don't risk it is, like, okay, if you got blown out and, like, it's the fourth quarter,
then you take them out.
Yeah. But you don't do that. You don't basically tell them, because you know that's basically saying, like, F you, we don't believe you can beat us in Game 6.
Yeah.
We're just gonna wait until Game 6 to beat you.
Just like what just happened in 2016.
Yeah.
Golden State's up 3-1, right? Draymond gets suspended.
Yep. Gave everything that they needed.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Gave all the momentum in the world.
And let's not forget, the last time that the Warriors were down 3-1 in a series, Kevin Durant and Russell Westbrook were teammates. So I'm just going to say that too. You cannot count this team out. Actually, they were also down to the Raptors, but I'm saying like the Western Conference. Because yes, the last time they're down 3-1, the Raptors ended up winning in 6. But I will say, in the Western Conference, that was the last time they were ever down 3-1 in the series.
You don't give a superstar like Steph Curry again.
I mean, Steph is still playing well, man.
I think they win tonight.
I think they do too. I don't
see Game 6, and then Lakers are going to want to win it at home, because if Golden State somehow pulls one road game, it makes it Game 7 in San Francisco. That environment and that arena,
toxic,
and the way Golden State could just shoot you out the gym. Yep. Now, it has not. That's another thing the Lakers have done well. They have limited the threes. Yeah. I think their game plan is Curry's going to get his. Mm-hmm. That's fine. We're going to make sure Clay or Jordan Poole don't get going. Yes, Clay got going Game 2, hit 8 threes. I get that. I mean, but that's just how good of a shooter he is.
He's a
Even if you game plan around somebody that can shoot the lights out, sometimes it's going to happen. They're going to go off. They're going to get a couple good looks and then they get going. But they have done a terrific job. They let Curry get his.
Yeah, of course.
But they shut everybody else down.
And here's the other thing too with the Lakers. Something that they've done really, really well is that they've been also watching what the Warriors have been doing. I know LeBron has played the Warriors so many times. There was that call out at the end of Game 4 where they were running that play where Draymond's trying to kick it out to Clay on the corner, and LeBron called that out, had AD step up. And I'll give mad credit to AD for the defense he played on Curry. I know that this is something that we've talked about off camera about I know that AD's not going to want to play top of the key, obviously, but that's in a moment where you have to do it. I will give a lot of credit also to the Lakers on just really making every shot tough for them, and not letting them get a bunch of easy layups. I know Game 4, yes, that was the case, but look at LeBron with the chase down blocks. Jared Vanderbilt's getting blocks in this series, and then obviously AD has been like the guy down low that is like causing like a lot of chaos. And here's another thing, Nick. Mm-hmm. Draymond has actually been in foul trouble in each of their losses. And I mean, if I'm the Lakers and I want to win today, I'm giving it to like, and I know we've said this.
Yeah.
You gotta give the ball to AD. You gotta let him get him going.
Yeah.
If Draymond gets into early foul trouble, it's gonna be a rough time because Draymond is one of the intricate parts of that team.
Yeah. The Lakers just cannot take their foot off the pedal.
No.
Do not give Golden State this game.
You cannot.
Look what happened. They was down 3-2 to Sacramento. They won the.
Yeah.
Look what happened. They won a pivotal road game. It takes one road game. And I know Golden State's not a good road team.
Yeah.
They win tonight at home.
No, they won. They actually.
I'm telling you, man. This might go 7 on the low, and anything can happen in a game 7. That's why I think too. But even Phoenix and Denver, I personally think Phoenix is gonna win Game 6, and then they just gotta show up. They've been horrible in Denver, but I know that's a different series. But it's just one game at a time, man. You cannot. I can't believe what Green said. I'm sorry. I like the guy too. I don't like watching those shows, but it just drives me crazy, man, hearing stuff like that.
He's a good guy. It's just like you can't make comments like that and expect people to like take that serious too.
Yeah.
But honestly, Nick, I think that it's been a really good conversation today with everything that we've talked about.
Yeah.
And I think we'll see what happens tonight.
Yep.
And we'll see where these games go and how long these series are going to last out. So the Knicks are actually up by 3.5 right now in Game 5.
Yeah.
Obviously, the Lakers and Golden State play later. We'll see what happens in that. But like you said, if we see any Game 7s, anything can happen in Game 7.
Anything can happen in a Game 7.
And we're gonna keep pushing out content. We're gonna keep being active on our social media. And I know that we haven't been posting a lot, but we're gonna continue again to try and be better about that. Scheduling and stuff. But thank you guys again for giving our podcast a listen. Please follow us on Twitter. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel, and then also follow our Spotify page. We appreciate all of you guys'
support. All your support, guys.
Yeah. But I think this is good point to drop off. But for Nick and myself, this is all ball, no foul. Thank you guys. Enjoy tonight, and let's see what happens going into the conference finals.